Welcome everybody on today's webinar. My name is Siri Wallach. I'm a product manager at Polarion Software and I'm really happy to be here today and publicly kick off our brand new release Polarion 2013. The release is out. It has been released a week ago on our website. Existing customers with valid maintenance contract and update for free. Or you can evaluate a new version via test drive server or just download an evaluation copy. Let's start. Next year we are going to celebrate our 10th anniversary since our first product release in 2004. And I'm sure you will agree that a lot has been changed in the software industry since that time. We'll see how much are the people looking for better usability, software easy to use, features intuitive without a need of extensive training. We know that, and this has a clear impact on our roadmap. Let me show you some of the examples of the improvements in the usability we did for the features that were in the product since beginning. Now let's start with traceability. Traceability refers to completeness of the information about every step in a process. You need to prove that requirements were verified. To prove that you can show the links between the requirements planned for the release and test cases executed. To do that, you typically need the links between the requirements and test cases, or between functional and business requirements, as I can show you in this case. So with Polarion, you open two documents, a business and functional specification. You start the link in one window, and you finish the link in the second window. And that's it. No additional dialogues. No editing of the work items. Just start link and end link. It's even better than drag and drop because you can start a link in one window and finish with linking multiple items. But to fully understand the scope of this feature, you just need to realize and remember that these are two browser windows. Polarion is a web application. Everything in Polarion is running on your web without a need to install additional ActiveX components, accessible from any place on the world with just your browser. So these are two browser windows speaking to each other, and we were able to do it without any additional components being installed. That's really a great example how we leverage the recent technology to make the software easy to use. The second pillar of ALM, the first one was traceability. The second for me is really the data availability. Being able to access my data anywhere in the world, but also no matter what my role is. So if I am a tester, I would like to really read the requirements to understand better the context of my test specification. To access the data, I can follow the links, the traceability, or I can search. And searching was always an essential part of Polarion ALM products. I mean, I really love the fact that we embed the Lucene index so you can just search for multiple terms and the result is sorted by the relevance. This is great. But what we have received is kind of the feedback that we need to make it simpler to construct for structural searches. So when you search not for the full text content, but if you search for based on some structural fields. So instead of typing the search query directly, you can just use the Polarion UI to create a query in few clicks. It's that easy. I mean, when I discussed this with some of the early adopters, they told me that this is one of the best search implementation they have ever seen. Currently, you can also search via attachments content. So it's really, no matter what information you have in Polarion, you can search across projects, across the project groups, all with this intuitive query builder. And again, before, if I've told you that the technology is really unique, for searching, you just need to understand the scope, why it's not in the product since the very beginning. These are maybe just 25% of the dialogues that needs to be implemented for the visual query builder. This proves that we really consider usability and ease of use as a very important differentiator. We think that it's really important to spend a lot of money, a lot of time on making the products easier and easier to use. Not only add a new functionality, new features, but with every release, we spend time on making the existing functionality better in terms of quality, in terms of ease of use. And this is really a clear message to all of you. ALM, we started with traceability, with searching, but there is one other thing that makes part of every single ALM system, and this is collaboration. In every single ALM marketing materials for any ALM vendor, you'll read that the collaboration is the essential, collaboration of every single team member is essential part of any ALM application. So what's the difference? I think that the difference is really again in small but very important features or capabilities. Let me just show you one example. One business analyst has opened a specification and is updating requirements. And in the same time, someone else from the development team is changing the severity of a requirement and probably adding some comments to the same work items that has been changed by someone else, or modifying some additional properties. And what you see is that the other guy receives a message that there has been a concurrent modification, but that the changes will be safely merged. This is really unique. If you compare this to some other requirements management tool vendors, you need to log the content before you can start editing a document. With Polarion, two people are editing the same artifacts, same documents, same items in a document. Probably different properties, because otherwise it is a real conflict and you need to merge the changes manually anyway. But if they modify slightly different properties, the changes are merged. From my point of view, this is a collaboration that I would collaboration features that I would expect from the requirements management tools. Being really not able not only to read and share the information, but really collaborate on the same documents from all around the world. Again, without no ActiveX component being installed, I can just open a browser on any computer, log in, and edit the same content. Collaboration is not only about text. It's not only about describing the requirements. It's also about drawings and diagrams. You'll know that a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so far we were really speaking about improvements in the existing functionality. But diagrams and drawings is a brand new feature set. You can create almost any kind of diagram with Polarion now, online, just in your browser. You can embed those diagrams and drawings to live documents, to work items. And we provide a robust library of diagram elements. You can have a picture like that in your requirement specification document, but you can edit it online in a diagram editor. When we executed a survey with our early adopters in September last year, you were clear that this doesn't replace the UML modelers. For UML modeling, we think that it's better to really have the integration with the UML tools. If you go to Polarion website, you will find out that we have the integration with popular UML vendors. One example is Enterprise Architect. But this feature replaces more a need to design a component diagrams, sketches of your architecture, organization charts, process diagrams offline with tools like Visio. You don't need to do it and touch the picture afterwards. You can just create those diagrams online and touch them. Of course, when you export a specification or a document into Word or PDF, the picture will be attached so everybody sees that diagram in the exported document. Again, with this solution, you should be not worried about concurrent modifications or people collaborating on the same documents or same diagrams. We handle it properly as well. This is really important. Whatever we do, we always think about people collaborating from multiple places and accessing the same data. Everything from the browser, no matter if you edit the diagrams or you modify the same items. By the way, we really provide a set of elements that you can put on this model, from UML to organization charts, electrotechnical diagrams. It's the library of reusable elements is really pretty huge. So this was a very good example of new technology brought into Polarion. Well, let me speak now about something very different. Something that has been in a software for a long time. These are OLE objects. You can have a Microsoft Word document with all objects inside, the Visio pictures, Microsoft drawings, Excel sheets being embedded into Word document. You all might receive those documents from your clients, specification documents, and you need to import them into Polarion. You know, the import procedure is really great. We receive a wonderful feedback that really what you import to Polarion still looks and edit as in Word. When you export it back, these documents are really very similar. This is unique. But we need to be sure that we met the expectations that all the structural content is actually imported. And those all objects, those pictures, are an essential part of your specification document. So you need to import them into the system so you do not lose any information when you import data into Polarion. And we decided that it's just fine to take those all objects and convert them into pictures. Unfortunately, this requires Polarion ALM to be installed on the Windows server. And I'll just show you why, because this is kind of important to understand our quality gateway. On the left side, you can see the initial document. It's blurred because this is really tested on some real-world customer data. On the top right corner, you see the same diagram being imported into Polarion, how it looks on Windows. And on the bottom, you can see how it looks on Linux. You know, the picture is simply damaged. It misses a lot of important information. Some visual elements are simply missing. And actually what we find out is that there is no technology so far to successfully convert the OLE object to a picture on Linux. I mean, we can convert it, but the result is not really good. So it didn't fit to our quality criteria. We really think that we cannot just pretend that it works. We want to be really fair and be sure that all the features that we include with the system are really tested properly on production data, and we ensure that only features that are ready to be used in production are really published. And because of that, we decided to postpone the release of the OLE object conversion on Linux, because simply there is no technology in the world. By the way, this library is being used by the OpenOffice. And you see it, it's not ready to be used in production environment. So currently, if you really need to import the documents with the OLE objects, you need to install Polarion on the Windows server. As soon as we find out the solution, the technology that we can use, or technology being created in the next years, we will of course include it with Polarion. Polarion QA. Polarion QA, a solution to manage the quality assurance processes and for test management, has been released a year ago. And it was a great year. We received wonderful feedback. We sold a lot of copies of Polarion QA. We were expecting it because as well as the usability is important for software vendors, we also see that the people are really looking for better quality. The quality aspect is really very important. So we see that, I mean, most of our customers manages the quality assurance processes with Polarion. Because of that, we released a dedicated solution for test management last year, and we implemented some improvements. And the first one I would like to speak about is related to the test planning. Actually, what we have learned is that everybody is planning their testing procedures in a different way. It also depends on the type of the testing procedure. If we are speaking about regression test, you would like to just select the test cases that are related to the features being modified manually and plan them into the regression suite. If you consider the iteration test in an agile environment, in the same way as you plan the user stories via assignment to a time point, you would like to assign the test cases to a time point and just plan the test cases via query. So there are really many different expectations. And what we did, we just made it more flexible. Actually, you have 5 different ways how to plan a test. Manually, I will show you later how you can manually plan a test. By query, so you can just refer, I want to execute all the test cases that are assigned to a time point from category backend. I want this query to be freezed when I create a test run, so whatever I changed in my test cases, all these test cases that are passing this query will be executed. I want to execute all the test cases from a document. So I have a component test specification document and I want to execute all of them. So I might like to plan a test via containment in a document. So different options. Now let me show you how you can easily plan a manual test. Just open your test run. You click select test cases. The table or document with test cases is open and you just add a test case into your test run. And that's it. The test run is ready to be executed. So the manual planning option was added recently as well. Test steps. You know, we did a decision last year that you will not include test steps, formal testing procedures, in an initial version of Polarion QA. Why we did it? Simply because consider a best practice for requirements management. We think that the requirements should be really granular. If you open a specification in Polarion requirements product, you see that more or less every single paragraph is tracked as a requirement. This is very important for traceability. I mean, I don't like requirements to be really a big objects with a long textual description, because if you modify just one single paragraph of such big object, it's hard to estimate the impact. You have no granular traceability between requirements, business requirements, and functional requirements. You have just big objects linked together. So the best practice that we recommend to our customers is make the requirements small. So every single modification of a single requirement is being traceable. You can understand the impact. You can understand why this modification has happened. And the same applies actually for testing. If you don't like a long test cases with hundreds of test steps that we also saw sometimes, because you think that it's very difficult to maintain those test specifications, because one test case really is testing multiple requirements, too many of them. So we really recommend the customers to keep also the testing procedures smaller and related to a few requirements only. But actually we realized that test steps are not only important to have a long test case procedures, but also to really have the formal procedures. So we introduced test steps during this year. You can define the model of your test steps. What are the columns? You can import and round trip using Excel. You can execute it online or offline, with results being re-imported and logged into Polarion. This is an example of a Polarion test specification document with test steps being managed. You can do it in a document, in a table, online or offline via Excel to design the test steps. When you import the test specification, you map the additional columns to a test step fields. So it's really the hierarchy of the information being mapped to Polarion data. And at the end, you need to execute a test with a test step. So you have a test run that we have created before. You just click on the button Execute Test. And the execution window is being opened, and I can go test step by test step and perform it and track the results. This is the online execution wizard. As I mentioned already, you can also do it offline via Excel. So you just export the test specification with test steps to Excel, and offline testers can just log the results and import it into Polarion, and everything is done. Once again, let me just mention it's not something new, but you need to understand that when you import the results from the Excel, when you execute a test in our web interface, when the test case fails, the issue is automatically created. The great thing about Polarion QA is actually that it's not only about managing the manual testing, but also automated tests. And this is our clear vision that we want to integrate with many different third-party test automation tools. This is kind of unique because most of the big test management vendors, they provide all the components by themselves. What we find out that most of our customers are using multiple test automation tools, and they lack management, they lack a feature that no matter what test case fails, it should be managed in the same process. A defect should be created, assigned, a requirement should be marked as not verified yet. So with Polarion, what we did this year, and you can find it also on the POP side, that we have more and more integrations with existing third-party vendors to ensure that no matter what testing tools and testing procedures you are running, manual and automated, all of these processes are managed in the same way. Connectors. Polarion is different to many different competitors in a way that we do not have different tools integrated together. We don't have a tool for requirements management and another product for testing that somehow integrates together. With Polarion, everything is managed in one single repository, in a shared repository. This makes it really easy for people to collaborate. As I mentioned at the beginning, a tester can have the access to all the other artifacts. They can not only read the test cases, but also read the requirement specification documents, ask questions. They can read the status of the defects to possibly verify them. A developer can access all the information as well because we share all the data in a single repository. To make it easy, I mean to filter the UI so you are not overwhelmed with the tools that you don't need to use. But if you need, you can get the access to every single information being tracked in Polarion. And it's a clear vision, and what we see is that even if customer is buying Polarion because of the requirements management, in a few years we see that they realize that they can also use it for the full ALM. But in the beginning, to make a smooth start, to connect external teams, they need to connect Polarion ALM, Polarion requirements, Polarion QA, the external tools. We have our integration platform that is sold separately to integrate different tools together. But we think we need to cover some solution out of the box. And this year, we provided Polarion connector for HP Quality Center and Polarion connector for Atlassian Jira out of the box with Polarion ALM, Polarion QA, Polarion requirements product. It's available for free for all the users who updates to Polarion 2013. No additional licensing, no additional extension being installed on the server. Just update to Polarion 2013 or install Polarion 2013 and you can connect Polarion with HP Quality Center or Jira. Just go to administration area and you set up a connection. Let me show you how you do it for HP Quality Center. Just assign a name. You mentioned you define the URL. You set a username and password to connect to HP Quality Center. Actually, the API of HP Quality Center is pretty weak, so not everything is available on their API. So we need to connect also to a database to synchronize some additional information. And then you just define what you want to synchronize. You can set up multiple synchronization jobs for a single project. You can decide if you want to synchronize one-way or bidirectional from Polarion or from HP Quality Center or bidirectional. And it's not only on an item level, but for every single field and attribute, you can decide whether the synchronization is one-way or bidirectional. You can do it for any number of fields. It's very robust. And just by specifying the mapping, what I want to synchronize, what fields and what direction, I can set up the configuration and execute it every hour manually as I like. once again, part of every single installation, no matter what product are you using, without any additional licensing, just available since Polarin 2013. Platform updates. This is probably more important for our existing customers who are watching this webinar, or for new prospects that are evaluating Polarin just now. We support new Linux distributions, most of the recent Linux servers, SUSE, Red Hat, Debian, all the latest versions, new Windows platforms, and new browsers that has been released recently. These are just the new browsers we support. Of course, we support any version of Firefox. We support IE8, IE10, IE9. We support Chrome and Safari as well. Without any massive installation of ActiveX component, nothing like that, just pure HTML technology without any additional components. Again, probably more related for existing customers, performance improvements. A poor performance might kill usability. We know that, and we make sure that our product is really fast. We do it every day. We have the performance test running every day, making sure that there is no performance degradation on any enhancement. And we don't just make it sure that we don't make the performance slower, but we want to make sure that it's even faster and faster. We have customers with thousands of projects supported by one single Polarin server with multiple repositories, or customers with thousands of users really supported again by one Polarin server. Here are some numbers. Faster rendering of documents with many images, about 30%. Faster rendering of test records, again 20%. Rendering of tree table with backlinks, 30% faster. These are nice numbers. For really large deployments, we have now a configurable size of a caching mechanism. So to be sure that we can leverage the already really high memory assigned to a Polarin process, 30, 60 gigabytes of memory, to leverage this really properly. We have a configuration, public configuration to set up the size of our caching. ALM2Go. It's nice that we can also, I say every year for a couple of years so far, release a new product. And this year, Polarin goes mobile. ALM2Go is an iOS application. It gives you a full power of Polarin Reviewer just in your pocket. It's available on the App Store, and you can download it for free. So just download it on your iPad, on your iPhone, and you can get the access to all the information tracked in your ALM system for free from anywhere, just from your browser, from your iPhone. You can read everything, work items, reports, documents. You can not just read the information, but you can also approve it. You can approve your specification documents with a few clicks just from your iOS device. I was surprised by how many early adopters were interested in this product. And we would really love to collect your feedback. And based on that, we will consider releasing a new version for Android and other mobile operating systems. So just download it to your mobile device, in this case iPad or iPhone, and let us know how you use it and what you like. I personally use this product to access information that we tracked in our user demand management project, and this works great. when I'm traveling, I can read on all the information and just approve and comment any single requirement. Actually, Polarion is being used a lot for system engineering to manage embedded software development. I would say the majority of our customers are actually coming from system engineering. And we need to be sure that all we know, but also all we have learned from the big players in the system engineering, all the best practices we share out of the box with new customers. So we make sure that we ship the updated best practices in our project template. We've actually two kind of project templates with Polarion 2013. One targeted to system engineering, and the other branch is targeted for pure software developers or software business analysts. So no matter what you're doing, you can just download Polarion and set up the projects with templates that were designed for existing Polarion customers, and you can find out that these are really a big players on the market. The default system engineering template follows the V-model methodology, the concept phase, requirements phase, design and risk management, development and maintenance. All the phases of application and product lifecycle are being managed with one single Polarion project. The template includes, the document templates for design, like electromechanical design specification, software design specification, electromechanical verification test plan. And we have a nice demo project that demonstrates all these capabilities. It's called Drive Pilot. When you install Polarion 2013, I'm sure that you will spend a lot of time just browsing this project and understanding the new best practices and concepts we shipped with Polarion 2013. So we are almost at the end of my presentation. Before I finish, let me just tell you that these were not all the features that we included with Polarion 2013. These were really the big enhancement and capabilities. But we have one dedicated team that works solely on the user requirements, on requirements coming from the actual users, from our customers. To simplify our planning, we decided really to assign one single team to work only on the customer enhancements. And there are many of them. These are just a few of them that fits on one page. Additional types for custom fields. So these are not only usability enhancements, but really the enhancements of the platform. Compact UI mode. Sometimes, we do our best to design the system based on usability tests, based on the knowledge we have. But sometimes people are different and they expect a different user interface. So we decided, to implement some different options to render the UI. Many different enhancements. So let me just really finish this presentation with the wish that whatever you miss in Polarion, whatever you would like to improve in Polarion, please share it with us. We are listening to you, and we make sure that every single enhancement is being read, analyzed, and prioritized based on the more or less number of users expecting it. So please make sure you share every single tip for a feature, every single issue or new requirement you would like to see in Polarion. We are really open for you, and we would love to make it listed next year on this page. Thank you everybody for your time. If you are interested in Polarion 2013, once again, release is out. Just go to our website, visit our test drive servers, download a local copy of, or if you are an existing customer, you can get the update package and update your production server. Thank you once again. Bye bye.